Ma me fana say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
Yentie earlier in Samoa Justice Shrem Sai PhD on a Deputy Attorney General of the Republic. Nin Samoa de Tröüble Efa Enra Enkomoa Yene Godfred Dami Edie Yentie.
He was supposed to just be interrogated immediately, then will be discharged. But he fell sick and was taken to the hospital. And when he came back, instead of his lawyers, the former Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, to come so that interrogation will be done, he chose to rather be granting interview in his office and in the media and calling into radio programs to say things that he knows are wrong and are not true. I mean, he said their time they used to assign cases to, what was this? They used to assign cases to experienced judges. My duty as an Attorney General is not to assign cases. It is the Chief Justice that assigns cases. So if he, at his time, was playing the role of the Chief Justice and assigning cases to people he considered to be experienced judges, that is problematic. Besides that, all the cases we have assigned, or all the cases that have been assigned, or the judges hearing all these cases, are judges who were in the High Court long before. That should be experienced. You don't come to the High Court unless you are experienced. And they are as far as I know, those judges are judges. One is even coming from Court of Appeal to hear the matter. So it makes us wonder what it means by experience. Is this something that we don't know about? So for a former Attorney General who is now into private practice, I know he has to earn his fees, but there must be some basic principles on which lawyers, even private lawyers, earn their fees. Let alone a lawyer who was occupying the high office of the Attorney General. I don't think...
Right. He says that the issue of fresh charges that you talk about, fresh evidence, I beg your pardon, is non-existent. He says there's no case pending, there's no fresh evidence. What's your response?
How would he know? You see, instead of him to accompany his clients to do interrogation, through the interrogation, he's sitting on TV, calling to radio programs and talking. But his client will be going for interrogation today. He was discharged yesterday. He'll be going for interrogation today. That is when he will know. If he chooses not to be on radio and follow him, he will definitely know where the fresh evidence. He has no basis to know whether there is fresh evidence or not, because he has not accompanied his client to the office of.
But he said his junior.
He says that he was denied access.
Exactly.
They were denied access, but you were saying that they didn't come. So what exactly is
that? Is false. That is false. Completely false. His client was not well and was taking the clinic yesterday. When they came back, the interrogators were waiting for him to come, because you cannot interrogate a suspect in the absence of his lawyer. And we know the accused person had lawyers. So it is fair and right and the proper thing to do to wait for the lawyers to come. He was nowhere to be found.
He said his junior doctors, lawyers, I must say, sat at the Iyoko's headquarters, waiting for them to be, interrogated. But you didn't give him that access.
That is hearsay. He is claiming that, and I am telling you that most of the time yesterday was spent waiting for him and his lawyers to come, and he never showed up. I think it was the same time that he was on TV and radio granting interviews. And I think that, you see, there should be some basic principles with which all of us work, because I've had personal conversation with him on the day we withdrew the charges, and he made specific requests, some of which have been granted.
What are those requests?
These are professional conversation, and I wouldn't want to disclose, and I think it's client. So I expect him to respect the confidence I have in him as a former Attorney General and the conversation we had. And one of the requests is still pending. You can ask him when he chooses to. You can ask him.
Are you frustrated? What's the status of this fresh evidence you talk about, and when are we likely to see fresh charges being preferred?
So let me take you through the process. You cannot just come to court when you have fresh evidence in a criminal trial, right, and start throwing in the evidence.
That's what I'm asking about.
You need to, so you need to first interrogate and hear from the accused person in respect of those new fresh evidence that you've gathered. That will inform your final decision whether to go ahead and charge the person or not. But to say that fresh evidence is not available merely because you don't have it is
that you can answer Attorney General, right?
Yes. But so that they have always been available. They've been fully cooperative. Abaya fees of Nomania, Abaya Peto, Omias Campom Dedi, yet Yamiadum, Omui, Omachase, Omdidi, Kataka. How can you prosecute somebody when you are frozen all his assets? Essentially, you are tying the person's hands to his back. And even that is contrary to law. Because you could only say a person fees will be asset. I saw a man of a coin, obit me, and Yakata, or the Beshan, our business in business and look up account. In this case, woman say why is completely. Hey. Anyway.
Yeah, it is a Siana Attorney General I withdraw charges no from court. Iyoko area arresting no or mu investigation munya inhu so ombeko court bi anaso omunko court bi. Would you apply for the assets to be unfrozen and answer what will be my next move?
Oh, yeah, sure. Some that mean some that no on pen on me. Yeah, sure. We are just watching, examining the situation.
Yeah.
To see what they want to do.
Yeah.
But what I can say is on the body be a training all because they made an oral promise. Now how can I buy it me back power? No back power no see me police near oral. It means me back be prosecute members of the outgoing government. It means once I ban what they say. Well, me say so open cases. Now prosecute. End of Breno. There's no cases, so they must manufacture or they must dream up some cases. So they are dreaming up the cases. And you can't prosecute dreamt up cases. Do you understand?
But we are sure
understood for the test.
Yeah, we are sure.
But say.
Yeah, let me be we are sure say or more bre in terms of prosecuting cases.
I won't bring court. I was withdrawn anyway. What I'm saying is that the oral must understood for what it is.
Okay.
We must accept it as a policy of the NDC, and it is because it was a major campaign promise. And the question is, how can a party seeking to win power set out their promises as a major policy? The fact that when they come, they're going to embark on prosecution of the outgone government for corruption. You have not even met the investigators. You have not even met the Director General of CID. You haven't met the Director General of the Executive Director of Yoko, or you haven't met anybody at all. You have not appointed anybody to office. You have no Attorney General. Yet you will more police in some of some prosecuting members of the opposition. How is that possible? I mean, so clearly you must find some cases to do, and that's what we are seeing. So all these cases really are just a product of the propagandist promises of the NDC. Anyway,
into you believe say omu go by the report now oral committee ne submitted to AG, you know, if and no one be foundation for more prosecutions there, then Nkosiaga.
Actually, we oral committee report to be out. One oral committee my report. Then a woman, then their core report. Nobody knows. Baby, line of someone who know. Baby, she, baby, can almost say we are not baby, we are free. Or man of meeting, it's so bizarre. Okay, to black one. And then don't live only Martin Pebble. Nobody, baby, evidence or. Very
well.
What I know is obviously that case, part of the oral one. Okay. Rambo in the jungle. Rambo in the jungle. We say law cases, it's Rambo in the jungle. Don't justify it.
Honorable Godfred, my nasi bibi any ebesia ba bedin komobio.
That's right.
Yeah, that's papa. Godfred Yabo Adame, a former Attorney General of the Republic of Ghana. Yensaka Honorable Godfred Dame ewo ahomane so, or a former Attorney General of the Republic, or no answer a lawyer Edema former Buffer Stock Company CEO. Honorable Akwaba na apomi ye de.
Abato boko
nyame adom papa ye ho eye. Na enra ye ne wo edi nkomo na wo ka se enyade ayo company for ma wo access to my client na munim baby awo and all of that. Enne Deputy Attorney General Justice Frem Sai in Central Focus, I with your permission, Mr. Se Anka Yentien in some of the two journey and then I'll pick your reaction.
Oh, but so
yes.
Martin.
Oh, what's an insem? That's fine.
Yes.
In Tina or no Cassette ye wo cano and yano cre na omo fair wumpono mo onam radio stations na we interviews any other now Casse mo nya access that's not true.
But so no correct mum asoma kana no correct because number one also will frame me man or frame me time be no frame me if also will frame me because the oya all the same or me number on frame that if I frame me on cancel time of frame me so it's not true and same Mr. Leon. Now lawyers from your office were there. Senior lawyers, Richard Jambibi.
Yeah, Richard Jambibi. Yeah, or try me criminal procedure.
Yes, or try criminal procedure.
Yes.
A very experienced practitioner, about 20 years at the bar, or only a partner, or damning partners.
Oh, okay.
All throughout. I know only pay only at the middle level attorneys, more 8 years, 10 years, almost a lower level. About 3-4 years, or me, I can't know. No more quay. Indeed, no more sound, not just yesterday, a Tuesday, next Saturday. Tuesday, almost sound from one, or probably 10:30 up to 8 p.m. You could form more point, no Miliano. Oh, no. Then it continued again on Wednesday, and now sometimes up to 6 p.m. Answer. Indeed, Hanan, Governor, or the Dianiba Hanan, no better one of the lawyers, ya Bompon, and Lubipon. Or the Dianibino. Now, ya Bompo, per se, but no more on the Diana Hanan, because of the security for you, government beach mapper, no, the Diamond, some security, the Diana secretary. Or didn't tell Marco no lawyer. How can they say a friend no money one? Hanan and Tampono or say ye now 7:45, no frame. Or frame didn't see. No way see there is another question. No say no Oguni a person ya at Toma or Yano or by our Zimbabwe office or Oguamu, but he was denied access to counsel. Asaya na deputy attorney on the case Hanaya. No, he doesn't even know the fact. But in Pony, it's a Tuesday. Tuesday can say a channel. Now, around every after 1 or 2 or baby. Or started over from a tea or free no hospital. It's not an idea, right? Okay. Or can say no more on beton here. You can say. One not of framing, time of framing. Find the evidence of that, or no of framing, time of framing. Now, why must it take the that more personally? Lawyers to all senior lawyers, experienced lawyers, nobody know. Which is going to be a or even senior to Deputy Attorney General. So it's senior to him, you don't really know. A section of procedure or law school with DS, among 4P, or barely know. And that's point I just say, as one kind of question say. And then, Omuma lawyers and the Hanan Echo, you office. Nothing count. But you want to also. You want to also. Which, yeah, you cool, educated director, no, Remonacha. First, some more obviously, Remonacha, no meeting can take place. And also, meet me in the engagement we are. No more quay. Over office no. Your form is almost back. No more stand back. No more quay interrogation. no movie bear about an hour or 2 hours ago. Yeah.
In the interrogation,
yes, and then no, there was a meeting, and this Obama report here, the same fact, same old matter, same charges. There's no new charge.
Fresh evidence, fresh charges be ma up and
fresh evidence be ma out. So, Omuna, I tell you, it's on press conference. From call for no me. Before call to hold press conference, evidence. That's what it is. It's almost already fresh evidence. Almost fresh evidence, right? Some on press conference. No, evidence at all. We have the evidence here, and it won't take so much time. And this one, what's that fresh evidence? Nothing at all.
Inti, Sisi, our client were in Sisi.
Oh, they say, on the office, and we, you know.
Not about granting the bail, man. Mommy, conditions.
Yes, and no, uncle. Now, why must you say if an oppressor no more share no moving that? Then why were they keeping him? If a woman himself or mean to be interview him or interrogate him or ask him questions in the absence of his lawyers, and then why were they keeping him? Why did they keep him for 2 days? Yes, because I mean, there's nowhere any meaningful interrogation or examination or interview of an accused person who is represented can take place in the absence of his counsel. So, suspect, you are an accused person or lawyer, now person not a lawyer in the world. So it cannot take place.
Yes.
Then why were you keeping him for 2 days? Then the question, it's just a matter of telling the accused person, so if I saw a lawyer, and lawyer referee. Friends, accused person referee.
Yes. Yes.
Why is that? In fact, Omija and of fame, 745. Not fame.
Not to say, Omija without him posting any bail condition?
Nothing at all. If at all, we can maybe say, if there was any, maybe I'm sure maybe the same terms. I don't know. But there was nothing at all. And also the team. So I'm locking it up. About 7.5, we did the same old charges into him. No coffee. And little bit in the lawyer by. Maybe questions and they say nothing new has happened.
Would that be probably because now Omama bail that earlier and they thought that would suffice?
I don't know, because as far as I'm concerned, the old charges. So old charges, some are withdraw.
Yeah, my withdraw. Sure.
There's no case pending.
Yes.
It
is to say, for more train the next move from either.
Appropriate say a young man should die out of such a situation. It's a very unfortunate incident. We don't wish anybody goes through that. However, there are underlying issues, underlying concerns, and I hope the reports. Now, we will peruse all the reports and the nitty-gritties of the reports. So, we see a section of the report in the crowd. No, cassette. Ambulance service now, patients need to move him around. The people were near careers. What does it mean? What does it tell us as Ghanaians? Say a foul feet, a accident scene, that's a they will hospital. They can't take practical steps to arrest the bleeding. And I say they cannot keep you in a certain way to sustain your life. They say the person risked the hospital alive, so we cannot blame them much. But there are practical breakdowns. Oko hospital, na say kase bed ni ho. A practical issue. Ye kase staff na ho nisha. We can do an investigation and check the number of staff at emergency units at various hospitals. There are a number of hospitals emergency services. Staff now to interact with them. they are all breaking down. Their backs are breaking down because they are few. The skilled ones are all trying to leave the country, and the few ones are breaking their backs to render services. And unfortunately, sometimes they are overwhelmed with the situation, and it affects service delivery. Means that will be a thing that's on your negligence.
Okay.
And I say on your guapayoma will be. However, I'm saying that there are fundamental issues as a country we need to pay practical attention to resolve, devoid of politics, devoid of blame, but we need to address those concerns.
Very well. I mean, inti yebeshe now committee findings no guilt has been pronounced yet. They will go through the disciplinary process. Said more members you support them throughout, that entire process. Inti the EBCB and EBC about be din komobio. Why?
Now, Memphis, Quensuma, Bushano Yakubim.
Okay.
Okay, see, my, if he said, BCB or Ghana. Now, feeling so necessary from to their respective regulatory body.
Yes.
They have to never go through due process. So that they are to you.
But sir, Monso as an association, sir, motete sir, nipa bebre na keka. Of course, not to hold breath for anyone, and when so not to sound prejudicial, but motete sir ya nipa bebre keka sir, and a nurses subayo beko hospital. A man for yare na nurses will phone so no more ye WhatsApp, no more ye say how our nurses ni a man for kasa, how our doctors even ni a man for kasa. Motete san seminar. Eya hamo anamo motia no mopia to be mote da
na every unit be in the hospital no necessary adwuma no ye line managers it is a call emergency unit wa ye line manager ho ono na nurse penyi pa ho ono report to maybe the DDNS of the facility. Now the DDNS also report to the chief nursing officer. Into those line of communications, my checks and balances. Into so obi akoto se obi and your mom watching and hospital hono said o craft phone nipe but no craft phone or umpino and our casalo umpina. Just ask for the line manager and report that as person is will be able if it's a name tag. But sometimes we're mistaking some of our jobs to say Okaphone. And then every now and then we are working on the computer. Obiaba, maybe being a friend lab or friend Dr. B or friend specialist B or Obusono or enter details or computer or say table no one or you may think that or computer and say or your course maybe or your course won't see it, but it may not necessarily be the case. We have situations where people reported when we went into it, even the person that reported was apologizing. There are instances that it can be true. I will not go brief for anybody. Okay. And there are some situations or sometimes it's not entirely the case. And I'm to tell them Oko hospital, Oko OPD, Oko maternity, Oko units. Not to feel and Shayano and Ko yesterday. Who is the line manager of the facility? See the person, report the issue to the line manager. The line manager will call the individual and get the details. And if there is any response he has to give you, he will do that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, no. So Obi, yeah, Ghana for now to can Obi. Obi see the Diba hospital no be do. Sometimes they want to dictate how things should be done to us.
Yeah.
If me a clinical person, na me see we no, ya we no me dey say we ti, but try adin to me no. Obi na aba for now officer ono no yenja bibia na no. We think that I've neglected the person. The American say fundamental issues to be education. It is lack of adequate staff at the units, especially emergency units, lack of logistics, lack of skilled personnel. Systemic challenges are the person share solve it. Now a wake up call for an urgent investigation in our emergency system. Then we can look at maybe expanding capacity building, improve referral coordination. Then we will have continuous professional training to ensure emergency response. And yes, the blame will be there. Or more, or there are just a number of them. Are we going to continue to subject maybe the staff to scrutiny whilst the systemic issues are also left untouched? We have to have a balanced approach in resolving the whole thing. But the right thing must be done. Referring the people to their regulatory bodies, very well. A nurse, a doctor, according to how I lay down principles. Regulatory bodies now they will look at your job description, what was expected of you, reasonable mass standards, what were you supposed to do in accordance with job description and level of training and a level of exposure. It's the right thing to do, but however, I want us to look at it holistically. Client care, holistic,
sure.
Facility based, and so on.
Mate, my seni fancy, Bibiania, you ever be in Comobio. Why? That's papa. Ekosi Sensinti, Assistant PR Roma, Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Philemon Japan, Ena, Yatin in Kano, Mamincha Ernest Kofi Usuben Pabuns, who is doing the listening all the way from Kodia in the Asante Achem municipality, Agogo, specifically in the Ashanti region. Ernest Kofi Usuben Pabunsu, good afternoon and thanks for listening. Where's Obi? Why is everyone silent on the failure of the police to arrest the hit and run driver? What happened to the cameras installed on our major highways? Take this up and question the police hierarchy on this. A review of the cameras can help arrest the driver. Enono seems to be missing from there, and I agree with you. Kweku that's Papa Ghana news page for this one. Hit and run driver now started had you win, or so dear. And
hey, we have the cause to issue a statement to our members, assuring them one, we would get the official copy, and two, follow up on the fallout of the committee's report, and then the recommendations specifically, and also reach the fact that members are they best support them to go through the disciplinary process. But Obi, the conversation after the presentation of the report is being tilted to suggest it appears that the problem is just the doctors and the other health professionals involved. And as I laid out earlier on, if we approach it that way, 10 years time, look, we will have this conversation again. At that time, I'll be on retirement, and it will happen again. Because as happened, we had this conversation 15 years ago, and I'm still having it now. So whilst as an association, we don't hold brief for any culpability of any health professional, and I think we should broaden the conversation, not just doctors, any health professional, let's recognize the inherent hydra-headed problem that we have. So that, yes, while somebody or a health professional may be referred, for further investigation, and let me say here now, what the committee has found, technically, it is not a finding of guilt. You lawyers will probably call it an initial finding, or on the face of it, it appears there are some questions to answer.
In the prima facie, yes.
And the prima facie will now have to go through a thorough process with the regulators or a disciplinary body set up by the employers at the various hospitals to look into it. It is at that point when they are done, that is where pronouncement of guilt or otherwise or culpability will be declared. That is when we will say that somebody was guilty. Well, but according to that is where the conversation is geared towards, and I am very disappointed. So because of that, some of our members are even receiving threats. Social media handles. Yes, and they have been attacked with cyberbullied. You see, but for me, it should not be the focus. Like I said, we are not going to shield anybody, but we are going to support them to go through the process. So that is just one leg of it. But the other issues are so broad and mundane and so deeply rooted. Because you see, the number of ambulance vehicles we have in this country, which Emma just described one-on-one, and so the number of properly trained emergency technicians are also more ambulance more. They can take good care of you in the right way to your destination. Almost 10. They are coming as emergency care drivers are the only scoop and to deliver. So once we are not holding beef for anybody, it's an unfortunate incident here happening. It is possible, sir, and ambulance technicians will come and now almost 30 line and these people team is so in Kenya you could see and it doesn't happen in most of the places. So we have issues about training capacity. We have issues about ambulance numbers. We have issues about ambulance responsiveness. Sometimes when you have problem hospital, open ambulance, now we see lucky now we can use fuel.
Yeah.
And you and I are aware of these stories. I have paid one before. I have all corners. So one of the hospital no say will be in a stroke, and after heart attack into the neighbor. No would never see mantra the gate waiting, and therefore if there's no bed, then there's a problem. Almost so bad as there's a bed, the cry noir, if there are oxygen here, there are no oxygen. Or there's a bed, but bed near bed that you treat obia or heart attack. Never moody obia when you stroke now, the number into fact. That is why we have supported that. We were probably the first to raise this issue about this emergency command center. It's like a dashboard. I bet collecting all the empty spaces and the capacities of the various hospitals across the country on a dashboard. Yes. Center and say that case will be direct to. Not that center receiving hospitals preparing to receive you. So that the issue or the term of no bed syndrome is an euphemism. In a couple of them say euphemism for failed emergency care.
It's emergency care in Shadanya, Papa.
Thank you. And then equipment. Look, a lot of the hospitals are. Look, resuscitation equipment is almost non-negligent, almost non-existent.
Yes.
Yes, it isn't there. And many places after 6 p.m. If you take Kolebu 37, those big hospitals within the center and then on the east side, over on the west side, over east side, after Kolebu, Kanichi Polyclinic, therefore, Ukoina, University of Winneba, Wakoto Trauma Center. So there's a challenge that we need to fix. Obi the Mikan say, yes, some people may have been culpable. Let's wait for the outcomes. However, let's use this opportunity as a nation and let's reflect and do the things that will not come to haunt us very soon. But and I are potential patients.
Sure.
And we know the story that has happened concerning some very prominent people in society, how they died.
Yeah.
Some died in taxis because the emergency response system was no good. It's not because there was no bed
but
or an attitude of the healthcare professional.
Beyond the logistical challenge, which is very obvious. I mean, there is no gainsaying that point, even further. But Utia, it seems to be emerging. The fundamental problem our committee identify here was rather the attitude of the medical staff on duty. Professor Bedu Akwasaka said these medical staff had a duty of care and they failed in that duty of care. That seems to be the fundamental problem. Yes, logistics may not be there, but nipa nimpo abano ahokeka ne how awoni patient ne be kasa oni ebusuafo be kasa the attention awodi be ma omo. That seems to have been missing in this program. We say any the conclusion of the committee.
So unfortunately, I disagree with you. That is the conclusion. Okay. It is not the conclusion, part of the conclusion.
Part, yes, that's fine.
If you, yes, so maybe I'll tell me, Mr. So it is the part of the conclusion. The part of the conclusion says that the attending healthcare professionals feel their duty. Sure. Which may be right. Let's even not say it is not true. Right. However, but let me tell you, I am a lecturer. I practice medicine. I teach medicine. Part of the training of doctors includes the coding ethics and professionalism. Yes. And even when they qualify, before we swear them in, we take them through similar issues, and we police it. So the medical association has an ethics and disciplinary committee, and it's at the various levels. The employer has one, the regulatory body has one. You know, of course, there are bad nuts, which we need to fish out anytime that we have in all other endeavors or professions. Yes. So, like I said, even if there is a culpability, let's wait till the conclusion comes. What I'm just saying is that, as that is true, because we as an association will certainly, speak to our doctors, and we continue to do so. Look, on almost every quarter, there is a session we call continuous professional development that we do and engage our members, and we echo and emphasize the need to be ethical and professional in their standards and what they do. Okay, so we don't shy away from that, and we'll continue to pursue that. Okay, but the question I'm just saying is that, yes, the conclusion may suggest so, but in the same conclusion or the findings, it talks about the establishment of other digital emergency center, and a whole lot. And I will tell you that as we speak, there isn't any valid regulation or guidance as to the emergency care in this country. There isn't. One was attempted 2011. It is not fit for purpose now. Okay, so I am saying that let these professionals go through the process, but whilst we are waiting for the outcome, and as we reflect as a nation going forward, yes, I say, the jigsaw in the puzzle, while we continue to have this cyclical issue, it's fixed.
It's fixed. Do you get the feeling as an association, sir, members maybe are being scapegoated?
Well, like I said, it appears so. Look, since the conversation started yesterday, it's all about the headlines. You can read, including your own portal. Doctors refer to this disciplinary committee, nurses refer to this disciplinary committee, and even with my conversation with you, it is veering towards that. I spoke to Omangene on Adam this morning. It was the same thing, and I pointed that out to him also. So it appears, yes, that somebody is being scapegoated. But we are saying that we uphold the highest professional, and we support the upholding of highest professional standards. And they can say, no, let them go through the process. We are going to give them the support. That is it. But then, let's be cautious as a nation, and let's say that it's because when we refer them, case, it's a case, we don't try. Like, let me be cautious in saying this, but nobody knows tomorrow, and at will be at any time. And unfortunately, it might happen. So we don't want that. That is why we are saying that let's be cautious about how we approach this issue, and let's not just focus on the health professionals involved. Thank you.
Now, members now receive threats near support ben amodemo Moses here.
Okay, so as the president of the association, I have personally been in touch with them. Okay. All the people involved, and I've assured them our support to through this difficult process. Cyberbullying is so. We are looking into it. If it continues, we would have to make an official report. We've also solicited the help of psychologists and some psychiatrists and healthcare professionals to give them the necessary psychological support for them to be able to go through this process. But I'll urge all of us, those of us listening and even beyond, at this stage, nobody has been pronounced guilty.
Yes.
If you be a means, we all falter in one way or the other wherever we are. In Kenya, we're coming to mount the high horse to try and vilify somebody and cyberbully somebody.
We do a poster. Only Yakum the Honsam Pana with me, Afishimna or the Abetujana. And dear Yajano as supreme.
But the recommendations, no, I mean, or more identify medical professionals, maybe a doctors, maybe a nurses, Edu Munina Dean Truja, Akase ministry Nenshe, Nayan refer one to management of their respective hospitals, no, and after your more regulators in the for nurses a woman, no, Yemfa one command nurses and midwifery council, for doctors a woman, no, Yemfa one call ma medical and dental council. Way to go.
Obi, if you say it is in the right step in direction, because doctors and nurses are here come once a minute after almost school or more any idea or more professional associations and so a regulatory na a more mandate a practicing. And to say on my no as you can be at the more so more these professional bodies agree home now they actually breach their code of conduct in their account to the latter now associate as in the amomo. The so say Professor D.N.M. or Moye no the woman or the Abetujana. So no NC the professional body needs to so by now so moon or moon future moon ya or more than normal be better to home no moon who dia as a factor now only is a 4 year AD. But to ask the general public and citizens of Ghana there,
yes,
and the so can see the mind say won't mean fact to be obi and to chachana and yet the weapon now. In this, their cost will be say a free emergency systems in the moon say your vehicles is so and answer to say no dear now you can say in your bermano so obi it's me man attention kakra and that is the first aid that you can want them. You didn't even do in hospital I can see me and so obia and me and and that is the call for concern. Say, on an answer or the training. I believe so. You can't say no best syndrome. Be a new or normal be a crime. You cry. Not your doctors or not your nurses on duty. Not your and go for war and communicate me at no not ya can't be before na you say. You no na sa condition na anyone na. DBB sa ebae. And as far as you are on duty now, as part of a profession, will be of ever BNS, so and I went to me and your son. And so professional bodies need to me as you film that where more 4 far play foul now.
Yes.
They are such a no, the master in your normal
many Ghana Medical Association President Akasa na Omo Kase, if we are not careful, we may personalize the issue, scapegoat some people. Oh, who doctor we nurses we you omadi ananse ya chi omaso. Na the real systemic structural problem no of your emergency care as a country near adeno. Eda so ho a ansha na ya nsolve no. Ete was saying
many opinion aye agree baby. And baby so many and agree said you know you said the structural system emergency system no ye democracy that one and so your family na you na you can't want them na you all together na you ma you can buy agree na so say over prioritize na one solve am na now with immediate effect and I say the abeda yenim ko free me se sia ne the dem see ya yenu abema na efre ne kwa oh yenu abema no sabi accident no nyae no ni otiminya ambulance service and your first emergency services no
yes
ye twini ko hospital ba ko nienu biensa eno ne hospitals akese pa ayewo ewo kroimu a no matter what it is no ye was a specialized case no so pa enko bibetimi aje lenkwa esi wo ede amai
okay
but ye nyasa nipa no emu bia ewo duty a omotimi attend to ye ne no eno ne yasema ye kan wase
yeah
my constructors ni bi sisi a ambulance ni bi at least ye free no so omo che den kra omo timi be do ye e de epita onwe e de meeting ya over an hour ansa or she nenkwa it means that there was some emergency provision which is the vehicle na ye kan wa SMCC and at the attention is from the man no omo so the omo timi aye omo ye and your personnel ni na kra na wo mu a the person didn't die in the ambulance. At least he died in the facility. Obi personnel be one.
Yeah.
And you don't know who argument now. Yes, say you are skipping one step and a critical, which is the emergency vehicle or more than to my commission about facility. I have been specialist on also soon COVID me associating the breast with me continue the treatment whichever but emergency forwarding by the creator the next service once they were personnel on duty and looking at you between sharp personality in a way no on one to me on professional duties so fully. But however, we still give them the room to also respond. Say, very well.
Very well. Right, my nas bibi any eba bidin komo. Why?
But beyond that, we say you me bo obia na odi ambulance no eba ya ebedu say. And I think so family no so mo ahwe omonipa no. I think say you me a compensate omukakra see na report no. About out,
okay.
So that it doesn't become like you are not sacrificing a life. Yeah, they fix some of the challenges in the medical fraud. But so or money really be send your money so that you more some form of compensation. And we are not ambulance and also rush here. You see, when you are the buy so you're born about so many who say it is a holistic idea reporter about outer attacking on all the personnel who were involved. Now, they deserve a reward and they are rewarded. No, they deserve punishment and so be a
my nase, Bibiani Ebesen in common. Fantastic. Right, Emi Sanyakon, or a president and a chairman Edema, the Ghana Coalition of NGOs in Health, and Amoten in Kano. Lots and lots of your messages. Maminfa Weyinkem, Yensa Etumi Aka, the actual reporter. Professor Bedu Akosa Edekokoma Health Minister no Ebi. A 64 slides because a PowerPoint report. A 64 slides. In all the recommendations no omoye ye no and as a key findings omoye ni nyina ewa nkofo omoni omukasa site omo visit all of those nyina ha meba na medimo go through all the key findings no enyinara. But we say Obi talk about this for me. The way mad people have become plenty in this town. Example from High Court to Independence Square. On the pavement, they are all over. And another thing is that the whole stretch is very dirty. Please, who is in charge of that? Talk about this. Reverend Blessing, convener, concerned parent group. Obi, good afternoon. Is there any update on the alleged inflated contract on the Big Push project? This is Abdullahi Jesse from Senya Busuoku. Obekaya time of 4th estate a story no president ekasa hono omanpenyika se wahye se 4th estate for emfa omo concerns ni nyina entro enfamre aban Now, the roads minister will be directed to respond officially, and he would have to go back to 4th State to find out say Omanya sa response no. And hello Ekosi saying keep the good work doing. This is Otabel Okra Kwajo in the Okra district of the Eastern region. Hi Obi, remember this. Dr. Etuahene was campaigning for the NDC in 2024, and he was all over the place defending the NDC. Do you think he will be objective in this? In accounting, we look at the current balance against the previous balance to ascertain profit or loss. The previous year's deficit was 58 billion cedis against deficit of 93 billion, which means the deficit has increased by 35 billion cedis. As an economist, I agree with Honorable Kujo Opon Kroma on this one. Richard Asare, Maryland, German town. Good day, Obi. I'm listening to you live from Tuxedo Park Way in Newark, New Jersey. Elvis Kwesi Opon. Hi, Obi. You are super talented. Watching you live inside Adeso. What happened to Air Ghana? Big Joe, Ewo Adeso. Hi, Obi. I am Eugene and my wife Becky. We are watching you live from Frankfurt, Germany. God bless you. Into Eugene, one of your Becky, Moshe in CCIA Kasei, El Frankfurt, Germany. Yami in Shramo, na Onyamo Kese, Munkoswa and Shane. Obi, I'm watching you live from Sydney, Yaguna. My name is Sami. Sami, thank you. Hi, Obi. We are watching you live from Toronto, Canada. Greetings to Alexander Frimpong, the incoming member of parliament for Asante Achim South, to succeed Honorable Kweku Asante Boating. My name is Roski Yedase. Obi, okay. Very good afternoon to you. On behalf of the community, I extend heartfelt gratitude to Honorable Doyo Kujo Gansa for her instrumental role in facilitating the construction of the Adafua to Totope 10-kilometer road. The relentless pressure was real and impossible to overlook. With this milestone achieved, our next collective hope is to see water provision addressed for the benefit of all. Nana Tessia Born Great or Spintex Road. And I won't know the way Abrenana Yedase Papa. And the monthly messages, I'll come back and read the messages for you. But before that, no, Philemon a Japan or assistant PRO at the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Philemon Ekosi saying Suni Akwaba.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
na ohoye dear.
About another
Sir Mate say mo members Nibia committee no a site one no ya refer one to one the management of their respective hospitals and science where they want akwa the Nurses and Midwifery Council. Sir Mate ansem no.
Yes, Obi. Na Menoka say as an association you do so I say you bring your official communication to that effect.
I don't know if that official communication will come because the referral no refer one to the Nurses and Midwifery Council. Someone on your council. No, I don't know why you are expecting official communication.
Okay, so Ghana Health Service Act now. Yes. We are an interested party.
Okay.
Institution the other punish will be an answer. I don't know if disciplinary procedure, the member must be represented by a union personnel. Fair processes and a fair trial is going to so that the person is not disadvantaged in a way.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, maybe the committee has aired or the processes have been aired. Or share their course now. Sorry, Obi. As an institution, we do not think that.
Debbie Kama, Mamena PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.